Hey folks, welcome to VerifiedInvesting.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. In today's video, we need to dive into some of these semiconductor stocks because many of them are hitting the upper bands of parallels or major trend lines that could denote a near-term top. All right, we're looking at a potential pullback of anywhere between 10 and 20% on some of these names. So I want to get right to them to give you the technical analysis. All right, first one. We're looking at Micron. Micron up 6.6% today on the day. Now, again, the first thing that strikes me as a technician of charts is to see that from the 31st of March, so less than 1 month, now Micron is up 70% in that period. So less than 1 month, 70%. This market cap is now north of $500 billion. That's a B, billion dollars. And that is a massive overbought scenario. Now, that just because something's overbought doesn't mean we want to short it, right? What we want to look at is say, okay, well, what do we have here? Do we have a parallel trend line? And what we see is we see low, low, and low. So let's put a trend line there and just see what happens. And if we do that and we bring this to this point and we drag that up and we go right up to this high, look at what Micron is hitting. So essentially low end hits, goes to the high end, pulls back to the low end, and guess where we are today? The high end of the parallel. And to me, that's significant because not only do you have a stock that is not, I mean, this isn't a $100 billion company. It's not a 50 billion, not a 25, not a 20 billion. This is a 500 plus billion dollar market cap company rallying again 70% from low to high. That is an incredible move. And now it's slamming into that resistance. In addition, it's always good to just take a look at the RSI. And what we can see is the RSI is now moving above right here, right? So above that 70 threshold. Now, by itself, the RSI being above 70 doesn't mean it's overbought. Well, it doesn't mean it's going to correct. It means it's overbought. But what we're looking for is where was the RSI the last time it hit the high end of the parallel? That's what you want to do. You want to compare apples to apples. So what we do here is we say, okay, well, if we look at this, we can see that here, where was the RSI? It was at 80 on or just above 80. And here we have a lower RSI. So high, higher high, low, or high, lower high. That's what we call a negative divergence. And that's significant. So again, high, higher high, low, lower low. And that, my friends, again, is one more nail in the coffin that is telling me that, again, there's no certainty. And I want to be clear on that. There's no such thing as, oh, this is a guarantee, right? Trading, we don't get guarantees. But is there a high probability that Micron is probably in the final days of its top out here for another potential significant corrective move? The answer would be yes. Now, let's go to SanDisk, SNDK, another intriguing one making a big push today, up another 7.4%. Remarkable surge to the upside here, right? So big move just in the last little bit. Same sort of deal. If we go back to the 30th of March, so less than a month, 91% upside in the stock. If we look at how much it's been up since the start of 2026, look at this, 359% rally. So we know it's overbought in the sense that it's gone up parabolically. But the question is there some other factor here? And the one thing that I was kind of stressing here is look at this, guys. This is very, very interesting. If we take a trend line and we drag it through, right? So we drag it kind of to this zone right in here, and we look at like just generally a zone. Do you guys see what that is? And this is just, again, just an interesting little factor. We have low pivot here. So really the beginning of this move back in January. So the beginning of the year, it starts up, it comes back in, kisses here, hits here, hits here. Then it breaks down, comes up, and it now hits on the underbelly, which causes a big sell-off. Then it hits here, causes another sell-off, although shallow. And then we look right there, and that's into a major level. So the thesis would go is that you now have a potential scenario where we have resistance, 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 3 hits. We should get a pullback, and I would expect one in the coming days on this. You know, maybe this gets as high as 1075. You don't know how high it can go, but it is in that realm of being significantly, significantly overbought. All right, and that, by the way, goes to even something like the SOXX. And we see this trend line on the SOXX, which is this low pivot down here. And you can see it got below resistance, 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 and then look at the run it's had. And it's actually getting the pullback today. So I think this chart of SOXX, we could be looking at the future of SanDisk maybe in the next day or so with one of these bigger pullbacks in the near term. All right, so again, we can go to other charts as well. I mean, there's so many out there that are showing us significant resistance levels on the semis, but a lot are already starting to pull back, like ARM Holdings. Look at this drop, almost 9%. Parabolic move, big correction. MRVL, parabolic move. Again, look at the size of this one from March 30th to Friday's April 24th high, 96% move. But then look, from that high already down, it's corrected significantly. So you can see it's starting to happen. There are still a few semiconductors out there that are holding true. Micron, SanDisk, like I just showed you, a couple others as well. But we're now beginning to get the basis for a bigger corrective move. And listen, let's be the first. I mean, I'll say this straight up, is we don't know if this is a top, like a cycle top, or if it's just a pullback before we go higher. That won't be unveiled from the market to us for probably weeks. But what we do know is that the probabilities of a short-term pullback are very, very high right in here. And then we just go to the last few. Look at Broadcom today. Broadcom even having a little bit of weakness here, but incredible move on Broadcom. And then you have NVIDIA, which is actually continuing to show signs of strength. But it kind of makes sense because of all the semiconductors, which ones haven't made a new all-time high? Really, there aren't many. But one of them is this one. NVIDIA never made a new all-time high. Right? So it's almost got to go up a little bit more before that top can be put in. Then I'd expect that pullback. And again, you can see incredible move on a $5 trillion market cap on this as well. Just epic, epic, epic move on NVIDIA. All right. So let's summarize here because this is really key. Semiconductors rallied anywhere between 50 to 100% in the last essentially 3+ weeks. Extreme overbought, extreme optimism. The rally we saw in the semis was much more like a bear market rally because they call those rip your face off rallies. And this certainly was a rip your face off rally in the semiconductors. But again, does that concern me? The fact that this is kind of the type of panic buying that happens in bear markets. And again, you might say, well, how is that? Well, because essentially people worry about missing the bottom, right? And so people just run in and just buy with reckless abandon. And that certainly seems like what we did see here in the semis recently. So I'm going to be monitoring this. I'm slowly inching into shorts on the semiconductors at these levels. Great to see some of them pulling back across the board. But I also think SanDisk is on the verge of it, maybe within the next couple days, as is Micron. All right, enough from me today, guys. Go have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.